Indiana Jones. It's a podcast about Indiana Jones. Every movie, 1 minute at a time. The Indiana Jones Minute.
Welcome back to the Indiana Jones Minute. This is the podcast where we take a good, healthy swig of Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, 1 minute at a time. I'm Pete Mummert.
I'm Tom Taylor.
I'm Gerald Christopher. St. Ulrich protects against mice and moles. You get a twofer there. And this one's really going to freak you out, Tommy.
Okay.
You ready? Also protects against, are you ready? You ready? Wait for
Yeah.
it. Protects against frenzy.
Wait, what?
Protects against frenzy.
Against frenzy?
Frenzy. I love it. There's a saint that protects against frenzy.
Wait, which is this saint? Because my train was late coming home today, so that would have been good for me.
That would have been, yeah. Porter.
That is a little disturbing, though. Is it like? And we've
Yeah.
asked this about other saints. Like, if you were experiencing high anxiety or something, would this saint be like, no, I'm frenzy?
Yeah. How do
high
you determine if it's frenzy or if it's ruckus or high anxiety or
Right.
fishmongering?
Or maybe it protects against, like, you know, if you're just super popular. I don't know how it's spelled. Maybe it's friend Z.
Oh, frenzy.
It's like frenzy.
Oh,
yeah.
like you have 26
I have
friends.
no idea. It's one of those things that, you have 20, or it's like there's a whole bunch of Y's on there, like frenzy, dropsy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. It's all that medieval stuff.
Nice. Well, fortunately, we've got another cool space geek here to hopefully explain all of this to us. This time we've got filmmaker Steve Ward from the I Need My Space podcast. Welcome to the show, Steve.
Hi, thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here, and I'm so confused right now.
For sure.
We all are.
This is great. Yeah, I love this.
That's how we roll on this podcast.
Yeah, well, thanks for having me. I'm very excited to be here.
Yeah, this is exciting.
Yeah,
And
it's a gorgeous minute, by the way.
Oh, absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
Almost dialogue free. There's like 2 words.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
And speaking of, we're talking about minute 116. Minute 116 begins with Henry slowly coming back to good health, and it ends with Sallah very politely asking the Nazis to drop their weapons. And
Very
Henry-
politely.
Very
It
politely.
works.
Yep. And Henry
Apparently,
looking
that's
as
the
if-
tactic with Nazis. You say please, and they drop their
Yeah.
guns.
You get more guns with sugar.
Even if they outnumber you 4-1, they're going to drop their guns.
Right.
You say please. Yeah.
Right. And then at the very end, we get Henry looking like he's filled with a radiant serenity.
Well, this is an enormous minute because
Yes.
at second 4, we have that beautiful moment that we get in every Indiana Jones movie where Indy goes, holy shit, this stuff actually works.
I can't believe it again.
Yeah.
I gotta
Oh
reset
my
my
God.
Who
whole
would've known?
life belief system.
You would have thought it would have happened
Exactly.
a bunch of times by now, but hey.
Right? I mean, that's it. That's it.
Yeah.
You know?
And
He
we
kind of looks up and
we get some
you
interesting
go.
reactions.
Yes.
Marcus crosses himself, which I think is nice because he's always kind of been the believer, and this must be a transcendent moment for him.
Yeah. He's never come out
Yeah.
and said, I'm Catholic or Christian or anything, but he hides his light under a bushel a little bit, but you've always known.
Yeah.
Like from that conversation in Henry's house when they were
Right.
looking for him, he's like, well, I'm taking some things on faith. I'm an old man.
Although I think it's pretty clear he's Catholic at this point.
I guess so, yeah.
Yeah. And I think that the time when this movie takes place is like most people have some sort of religious affiliation that they're, proud
Yeah.
of.
They at least
Right.
have
Yeah,
to
it's
go
like
to
you-
church on Sunday for some.
Exactly. Yeah. You
Well,
had to
speaking
go,
of
so.
religious affiliation, I mean, I guess there's an outside chance that Sallah is a Christian, but I'm guessing that since he's named after Saladin, that he's Muslim. And do you think this
Right.
affects his personal faith at all? Or like, is he like, well, maybe I should try this religion on for size? Or is he just happy that Henry's feeling better?
I wondered that myself. First of all, we rolled right over this. I can't stand. It really bothers me when Marcus makes the sign of the cross.
Oh,
like
really?
that. It does.
But if you were in the
does.
face of undeniable proof of God, wouldn't you make the sign of the cross? I mean, this is it. There's no doubt about it. He pours water on him. It hydrogen peroxides itself back into health. And goes away. I would make this. I would kneel and pray and cry and vomit and poop myself.
I'll be clear. I don't have any problem at all with Marcus being religious and spiritual and any of those things. He has been. It's completely consistent with who he is. It's just the treatment of it. It's just the treatment of it. I don't know what it is.
Is it almost like it's done for a laugh? Because, I mean, it's funny because him and Sallah are both, their characters become buffoons in this movie.
Yeah.
Which they weren't in
you
the
don't
first
say.
Yeah, I'm sure you've talked about this a lot, but it's like very different characters. And it is, I think if it's done for a laugh, then it is strange.
I don't know if I do read it as a laugh here, but
it's not a laugh.
Is it too is it too casual for you or something, or is it too like kind of this is like a kind of thing where people might cross themselves or something? So
you know what it is? Yeah, you know what? I think it's this. Like, I don't really know how to explain it. There's a handful of people like who have ever lived, including on this movie, who have actually. I feel like saying witness this type of miracle. Mm-hmm. I mean, we can include like Moses and, Abraham and,
Belloc.
They're sitting here and Belloc, exactly. So it's more than 5.
Right.
It might be more than 20, but it's not that many when you talk about the entire world, everybody who's ever lived. And they're witnessing this here and like, I almost like Indy's like, oh my God, better. Like he's really like.
Right.
I don't know what it is.
Or even the people, the soldiers running out seems like a fair reaction as well.
Yeah,
like
maybe that,
or
even just like, I don't know, just like I don't know.
I gotta play Yahweh's advocate here. I think. Yeah. Marcus, I think this is a beautiful reaction. I think this is a perfect reaction.
Yes.
I mean, he sees the power of God that he's always somewhat or maybe a lot believed in, and now all of a sudden he's like, "Oh, wow! I'm actually witnessing it in person."
You know what? What it is? It's as a Catholic. Mm-hmm. You spend a lot of times. It's like you walk into the church, you make the sign of the cross with the holy water, you genuflect, you go on. And it's something that you do as you enter church and as you leave church. Maybe it does seem a little too casual or something. I don't know what it is. It seems like
I sort of get that, but I'm also really glad to have in this minute we have two. The next 2 shots of Marcus are not clown nose, propeller hat, like goofishness. It's just like sincere,
refreshing,
serious. Yeah, just refreshing, honest Marcus.
Yeah.
I mean, we lose it all in the end, but it is nice to have like Raiders Marcus back for a second.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
So I'll take it.
It's a very All right, I'll back off. There's something about it bothered me, but I guess I can't. But getting back to what you're saying, Pete. I mean, what religion is Sallah? Because of course he's from Egypt, so you think, okay, he could easily be Muslim, or he could be a Coptic Christian.
But I don't. If he were a Coptic Christian, I don't think they would have named him after Saladin.
That's a great point.
And it's interesting that.
Yeah.
It's interesting that they're in
Yeah.
That's true. But in a movie where, it's fascinating. He was named for Saladin, who was, the crusader or the anti-crusader from the Muslim world who fought against the Crusaders.
Right.
And that's an interesting dichotomy we've got going on here.
That's true. Well, and check this out. Interestingly enough, if he is Christian or even converted, or, even if he converts right now.
I mean, who wouldn't in this moment?
I thought about exactly. Christianity was introduced into Egypt in 42 A.D.
Yeah, they were
by
super
Saint
early.
Mark.
Yeah, with the Venice connection.
Exactly, another great Venice Crusades tie-in.
Yeah, but I also, the Muslims see Jesus is a prophet, so this could also confirm his own belief if he is Muslim. Like this could just, like everyone could see this as their own belief being confirmed.
Yeah. And he seems sincerely awed and I don't know, respectful or whatever of the Ark and Raiders. Like he wasn't saying like, oh, it's a bunch
Yeah.
of Christian hokum, this arc business. He's like,
Yeah.
no,
Or
that's a
Jewish
powerful
hokum,
thing that's not
yeah.
from this earth.
No,
Yeah.
but that was Your Highness. He did that. He was like, whatever, about the Holy Grail. Remember the Your Highness of Hatay? Yeah. I mean, what's interesting is Sallah also says that death has always surrounded the Ark, which is true biblically, but it's less so with the Holy Grail. I mean, he's definitely spiritual.
Right.
You're talking about Sallah
Yeah, but
still?
it's just,
I think
I'm talking about
Salah's
Sallah, but
he seems like a go with the flow kind of guy.
he definitely is, yeah.
Yeah.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
he's into like the wonder of life. He's not drawing lines in the sand
Yeah.
about like, religions and sects and stuff.
I think he really believes in Indiana Jones. I think like that's his. It doesn't matter what's going on. It's like, all right, this might change my entire belief system, but Indy, I got you.
Right, right.
Mm-hmm.
He wants
And
to
then
believe.
Henry's eyes just absolutely light up when he sees Indy. And do you think that's because he thinks Indy has died, or do you think maybe he thinks he has died? And all of a sudden it's like, hey, I'm alive. Like, what do you think this?
You got your head
These
chopped
gleaming
off,
eyes
and now
are.
I'm here in heaven with you. This is great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where's Chantal?
I always thought that was a nice moment where it was just like everything I've put you through as a child and everything I've worked for. It's like I promised you it would pay off, and like even though I was a dick to you when I was a kid. When you were a kid, I mean, like, look, I told you it was real. And like, he finally, his commitment to this search and ignoring Indy's whole childhood is finally paid off. It's kind of this weird, like, I told you I was right.
But it's interesting. I got a really strange read off of this whole moment, like most of this minute this time, because he sees Indy. He takes first of all, he takes a long time kind of coming to.
Right.
Which almost makes you think that like he was actually kind of only
Almost dead.
semi-conscious this whole
Yeah.
time,
Yeah.
like with the penitent man and all the chanting and everything.
Right.
But the first thing he does, he sees Indy and he smiles. He's like relieved and he's happy. And then there's the whole moment where he actually touches the Grail and looks at it, and he does not seem that interested in it. There's no
Really?
like he.
Oh, I
he's-
got the opposite
If I'm
impression.
looking at him right now, he's holding it in his hand. I always got that read too, that he's like, oh, this is the moment where he's looking at the Grail. He's got it in his hands and he's finally looking at it. But like watching it now, it's like, oh, there's a cup. I'm holding a cup.
Oh, I don't get that at all. I think it's just
I
like,
don't
it's
either.
too much. Like, it's just like your life's work has, is finally in your hands. I don't know. I think it's a beautiful little subtle moment of acting. I think it's great. I mean, they kind of cut away to people running away very quickly.
Well, what's weird is they cut away to Elsa. There's like that like lingering slow zoom onto
Yeah.
Elsa as she's watching him hold it.
Yeah, that push
But
is
I-
really because you see everyone be fascinated and like see the beauty of it, and I feel like that slow push, and then even that slow push into her really shows that she sees something else in this, which is profit.
Sure. Yeah. No. Totally. But I just wish we had more of the Henry though. I'm really stuck on this Henry thing.
Yeah,
I
guess it's the end of the movie. You got to just clip it along, right?
I guess so. But this should be a huge moment. This is like,
Yeah, you're
I mean,
right.
Indy,
No, I know.
Indy hasn't cared about this thing the whole time. He's only been trying to get it for his dad.
Right.
Henry's the one who's been like obsessed with it his entire life to the point where he wouldn't go to Indy's soccer games when he was a kid and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And now he's got it in his hands. And yeah, the
These
moment
soccer
feels like
games.
it's supposed to be that. Like he's, oh my gosh, he finally has it. But I'm not, and maybe it's just because like the way he's laying down and he's looking at it like down his nose and stuff. And it's like just like an awkward
I have a
physical
completely different
position.
read on that. Because you look at him, and as the minute goes on, he gets this really serene look on his face. And it almost reminds me of how they described the Buddha after he found enlightenment. Like he's got kind of the soft smile. And I feel like he suddenly realizes what the quest for the Grail has been about. And suddenly he realizes he has all of his friends and his family around him. And it's like he realizes what's actually important now. It's not actually the search for the Grail. And I think the way they show Elsa kind of slightly out of focus in the background, she's not part of the group.
Right,
Like, she's
and
not
she is
really
a very
involved.
different angle too.
Yeah.
Suddenly up on her, it's like she's standing up. Well, that's what they always said. This is the movie where Indy gets his greatest treasure, which is a relationship with his father. It's not really about the Holy Grail. So I like that. I like that read a whole lot.
I just want to say, like, that's actually second 25 you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not sure who that female is behind Indy. Take a look. Sorry to freak you out, Tommy.
Uh-oh.
Take a look at second 25.
Okay.
Who is that?
Elsa.
That's Elsa.
Yeah.
What do you mean? That's totally her.
No, not somebody who kind of looks like.
No, that's
That's Elsa.
That's not a.
All right, all right.
That's
maybe.
You see her. She
Okay,
kind of
all
jumps around in the frame a bit. She's
She does.
on Indy's
That's
right left shoulder.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
Indy disappears all of a
Yeah.
sudden,
Yeah.
and she's
He turns into Marcus.
kind of there. Yeah,
And she's
it's
in
a little
very
bit of-
barely in focus. Like she's not in focus, and she's kind of a
Yeah.
shadowy figure
She
back there.
seems
And I wonder, is that
closer-
is? Well, do you think she's holding herself outside of the group out of respect, or do you think they're purposely excluding her from the group?
purposely. I mean, I think it's the idea that
Yeah.
she's the only one that's not getting it. Because she's when you see her, when they cut to her, she's on the same plane as all the soldiers. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they do that twice. Like in the next minute, after like they've all got their hands up and stuff, they do almost the identical shot. Like almost to the point, like I actually went back. I was like, wait, did they just reuse the same shot? But like in one, they don't have their hands up, and the next they have their hands up. So it's like, yeah, it's weird. It's like she's in her own little section of the movie right now within this scene.
Which I like. I
Yeah.
like that she's in a separate place.
It's great. I mean, it just goes to show you. I mean, it's no secret that like Spielberg is just a visual storyteller. But I think like this minute is a really great example of how
Yeah,
much he can.
absolutely.
This is 60 seconds long, and there's so much going on here.
Yeah.
Yeah, even just I love that shot so much of the guns dropping and the camera panning back up, or tilting back up, I should say, to the soldiers. It just creates this urgency to it. I don't know. I've been obsessing about this minute for a few days now, and I'm a big Spielberg nerd, as I believe we all are.
Oh, sure.
I think this is just a great example.
I think when Henry grabs the Grail and he looks very sternly at Indy, and it's kind of like, what are you doing with this? This is my Grail.
Yeah,
I didn't get
That was the read I got
Oh,
from
wow.
it. I didn't.
like
yeah,
that.
I got from like, no, he does. He's kind of.
got
He's
it
like,
before
hey,
I
how'd
did.
you get this? Yeah,
Yeah.
he's kind of. It's a funny little. It's a very stern and serious look.
See, I think it's
serious.
reverence.
I don't
think
think
it's yeah. I don't think it's stern. I think it's reference. Like I think
I-
it's like, wow, you got this. We're sharing this. This is a really important moment. This isn't funny. This is
Yeah.
Like-
Almost as like, hey, you're holding the Grail. Is it okay if I hold the Grail for just a second? Like,
yeah.
like, this is really serious.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's a mutual respect.
Yeah.
Well, so what's really strange here is like this entire movie. Elsa has been a real cool kielbasa here, and like now, like something has happened. Like she's cracked. Her like, her bratwurst burned.
Yeah.
There's something going on here that's very, very strange, and it's not just it's more than just she's been around the Grail now for like 6 or 7 minutes.
Yeah, but her boss just dissolved in front of her
Yeah.
like 5 minutes ago.
Yeah,
she
but she
coulda
didn't even
snapped.
like that dude.
No, but I mean,
Yeah.
it was nuts. It was nuts and scary.
And she cares about Henry. She's letting them have their moment where he's healed, where everything's good, and then she'll jump in when she thinks the time's right. Like
Yeah, I was
Right.
wondering if there's any in that look, that push in on her. Is there any like it sounds like we all kind of agree a lot of it is like, ooh, got to get me some of that Grail action. It looks kind of sweet. That would look nice on my mantelpiece. But is there any like, oh, thank goodness Henry's okay? Like,
I think so.
No, there's nothing.
Oh, really?
think there's
I'm not
like-
sure. Yeah, I can't tell. I think you're both
They do
right. I
show.
don't know.
They do show. I think if you look in the background in 25, they show her in the background. It seems like she's kind of smiling.
yeah.
It's a little hazy.
Well, I think she's
but
being
she's
very
kinda
reverent.
smiling,
though. She's being
which is very
respectful.
strange.
She's being like a person would do in this situation. Like she realizes this is a earth-shaking moment. Not
But
quite
she also
literally.
completely cracks.
Right.
Well, she does in a minute. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But I think that's
Well,
like
I think
that's
she
like
does
Indy's
here.
gold lust. Oh, really?
Like because you listen to the music. The music is all this nice father-son reunion stuff, and then it it gives way to monomaniacal Nazi mischief. I mean, it does.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
actually, if you really listen to it, it's a complete riff on pomp and circumstance.
Oh, really?
It is a little bit.
At the beginning of this, and I was wondering if does now Henry finally have tenure?
Not now.
Because it is. It sounds like Pomp and Circumstance. They kind of like quote it for a second, and then it's this
Really?
nice father's. Yes, swear to God.
Because
I listened to this minute.
Okay, yeah, I mean, I've listened to it too.
And then
that's funny.
And then they go to this father-son reunion thing, and then it does that classic like Nazi mischief.
See, I don't get Nazi
You know.
mischief. I get there's a little bit of something dark creeping in with the strings, but I don't,
Oh,
I don't feel like
super.
mischief. I feel like it's she's see. I keep feeling like this movie mirrors because this was the last of the trilogy, and this
Yeah.
mirrors the beginning of Raiders. And she's now like Indy was at the beginning of Raiders, and her gold lust is going to take over, and she's going to want this thing as a treasure, just like Indy wanted the Chachapoyan idol.
Yeah, and I think she
as soon
doesn't
as
want
sees that.
the Grail as much as eternal life. I mean, that's her, right? It's like it's not so much the piece, but it's more like what it can do, right?
I am not at all sure.
I feel the opposite, actually. I think she wants the piece.
Oh, really? Interesting.
Yeah, that's what Donovan was after, and like the eternal life and everything. And we talked about that a lot. Like he's like, yeah, Hitler can have the Grail, but I'm going to have the eternal life. Or no, I'll have the Grail, but then he'll like the division between like the power of the Grail and actually having it were not making sense to us.
Yeah,
She
it's
has,
very
I don't think
loose.
I don't think she's actually brought up eternal life in this movie. Like I don't think that's
Yeah, I think you're right.
even been on her radar. I think she's
Oh, yeah, I guess when she does cross the seal, she's like, we have it. Let's go.
yeah.
Huh. Yeah. I mean, what is that line that Harrison Ford says? Oh, Harrison Ford, that Sean Connery says earlier. He says, is it for his glory or yours? And I guess that's kind of what this scene comes down to. Like they're basking in the glory
that's
of God,
chasm.
and she's
Oh, it is
basking
chasm,
in her own glory.
Yeah. That's a good call.
Yeah.
I mean, she's a very different person in this minute, and some change happens here. Now, I'm not saying she's a super Pollyanna or in this whole little thing for the right reasons at all. I'm not saying that, but there's something very distinctive that happens to her here. And you can follow it by the music. I believe it's Evil Woodwinds.
I think it's dark, and I think
The evil
it's
woodwind.
because she's seeking it for her own glory rather than the purpose of the Grail. I think that's
But I mean, what's strange is she sees what happens, in the like just 2 minutes ago.
everybody else has sort of put aside their own desires at this moment. Like Indy has now he's using this to save his dad, and his dad is not interested in the cup anymore. He's interested in his son, and everybody's happy for Indy or for Henry. And I think it's dark because she's the one that's looking at this as far as her own desire and self-interest.
Right. Yeah, because even all the soldiers, everybody for a second, or at least up until about, second 50, is all just, they're amazed by it. No one cares about any of the sides they were on before. They're just all basking in this glory of God.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it does seem like that's the meaning of that push, is that she's the only one that's sort of like, it's about her and not about what has happened.
Yeah. So when everyone starts bolting, like all the Hittite soldiers, is that because Henry is like a zombie now or something? Or like they saw him get like magically healed and they're freaking out? Or is that like, what else is going on?
They do kind
there?
of, it's very abrupt. They push in on Allison Duty, and then it just sort of cuts and they run away.
Yeah, like Henry's starting to get up and they all bolt.
But it is like, is this that Spielberg like editing where, he shows you many different perspectives of the same 10 seconds over the course of 35 seconds? Where it's like Spielberg has those time-defying edits where, is this minute actually in the movie, if it was reality, take place over 20 seconds?
Right.
That's kind of what I always thought. It's sort of like this, we're just seeing everyone react to the wound being healed, and then we get out of it when the soldiers run away.
That could be.
Because Spielberg's kind of not notorious, but famous for those like time-defying edits.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what I noticed is what's fascinating is all the Hittite soldiers retreat right after witnessing the power of the Grail.
Except for one.
Those darned. Well, yeah. I have a theory about him, though.
What's your theory?
I do. Yeah. I'll
you have
tell
a theory,
you.
that's why I think this podcast is great, because we can break it down. We're like, that extra, that one guy that was there, we have a theory about him.
They witness the power of the Grail, and they take off, and I think that's appropriate. That's being reverent. But those darn thick-skulled Nazis, they have to raise they raise their weapons. It's always with the hubris in the face of the Lord, and that's what we see here. They witness the power of the Grail, and they're like, Matt, and they all just raise their rifles, and they're like, gimme. And I.
But then what about that one
Hate
Hatay soldier?
Well, I love it. See, I have a thing. He's among the Nazis, and I think he's just sitting there going, "Take me with you." I think he's abandoned his regiment and his little platoon over there, and he's gonna leave with the Nazis.
I also think it's like slightly just sort of like, well, we can't make it seem too racist by like the people who the desert people who don't understand things being freaked out and running away. Because it is like, it is inherently a tiny bit racist that like, they all, that group runs away because they don't understand and they're just afraid. And the Nazis stick around because they're, white people that have seen it all. So maybe that was an effort by them to be like, well, we got to have one guy stick around.
The rule of one.
The rule of one, yeah. We got to have this one.
Well, why?
Yeah, he'll be there.
So when Sallah says, "Drop your guns, please," why do you think the Nazis drop their guns? Because they've got four guns pointed at him. And do you think they think that Henry, well, the dude's already drunk from the Grail and he's invincible?
He's got a bigger gun.
That's genius.
He's like a super soldier now. Like, is it? And would he be like if they shot him? Would he be just like the guy in Terminator 2, like the T-1000 guy, and he just relentlessly come after him?
Maybe they just figured that Sallah is with the guy who just got healed directly by God, so they're like, okay, we can't mess with any of these guys. We're done.
Yeah.
But wait, okay, so hang on, Tommy. Question for you.
Okay.
Why does Sallah say please?
Because he's awesome. Because he's Sallah. He's full of life. Every man is his brother. Even if they got a gun on him, he's just awesome. Okay.
Oh, Pete, question for you. Why does Sallah... See, I think you'll have a different answer, Pete. Why does Sallah say please?
I think he's a very polite... he's a genuinely good-hearted guy, and he's like,
okay.
You know what?
I thought you were going to pull up the whole colonial card.
I don't want to. I mean, I'm so beaten down with that. And I think that this movie has... All of these movies have way too much of that. But at this point, I'm just going to say I love Sallah, and I'm going to give him.
Gotcha.
He's a good guy.
Okay,
it's
just
an awesome
keeping it
Sallah
positive.
moment.
Yeah, I love it. I love it.
And Steve, why do you think he says that?
Thinking about it now, looking at it, and I know I just said like a few things, but I think honestly, I think it's he improvised it, and it was fun, and they kept it in.
Oh, interesting.
I feel that's what it is. I bet if you looked at the script, he doesn't say please. I think it's like this movie, as you guys have discussed before, it definitely leans way harder into comedy, and they needed a little bit of moment of levity in this. It seems like not undercutting or anything, but I feel like maybe he improvised it. Maybe they were just like, let's make this moment a little funnier, and we have to make sure Sallah is this teddy bear, which he is in this movie. And I would bet if you looked at the script that please, I don't know if you guys have looked at the script and can confirm or deny, but
the final script does have please, but I don't know.
It does have please, but is that a transcription or is it the script?
I think it's the shooting script.
It says please in it? Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I would like to think that every time Sallah has ever pulled a gun on somebody and demanded a gun, he has said please.
I think so too.
It's just the kind of thing he would do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I did discover one very interesting thing in this minute. The Grail is like the loaves and the fishes, because Indy empties out all of the water on Henry's wound.
Yeah.
But then we see it, and there's still water in it.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure that Grail is ever fully empty. And maybe it made me think back to the Grail room. Maybe if you just looked and peered into all the Grail cups, there would have been one with water in it.
That's interesting.
But
we know he
scoops
and you see it's not in there.
Yeah, but I mean, he acts. That's true. But he empties out all of the water on Henry's wound.
Yeah, yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that they didn't do that Marcus didn't like grab it and shake it up like in a World Series celebration and start spraying it over everybody.
Dump it on Indy's head.
I kind of feel like the water left in there is just, it doesn't matter if you're Spielberg or who you are, there's always going to be continuity errors.
Yeah.
I just directed my first feature. I'm like, yeah, they just like didn't think about it. Like, got a pickup shot or reshoot.
I wouldn't be surprised if the effect guys were like, oh, hey, you want that glowy kind of light in there? You need some water in there to help it glow. Yeah. So I don't care what happened in the previous shot.
Apart or something.
Yeah.
I just got to say, I'm looking at this now of Sallah holding up these dudes and saying, drop your guns, please. I just want to appreciate this frame for a second of Sallah pointing his gun at the Nazis and one of the soldiers. Because you can see one of the statue of the Crusader. You can see the blade in the background where the guys got their heads cut off. Everything's an amazing focus. This is,
that's
I've
awesome.
just noted this now. This is a fucking beautiful frame.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Sorry for swearing. Let me do it again.
This
is a beautiful frame.
And the knight hasn't come out yet. Like, I don't know if he's just super slow because he'll come out in the next minute, but he's still...
He's getting the rope off the blades to reset it so he can get through.
Or he's setting it for the next guy to come through.
Thing.
Yeah, he's so weak. Just one gust of wind over the leap of faith, and he's off the other side.
Well, so this minute, Henry, after 40 years of searching and ruining his family and his marriage, Henry finally obtains the Holy Grail. So, is this minute anticlimactic?
A little bit.
I don't. Oh, you think so? I don't think so.
I don't either.
I'm going to say yes because I forget if you see it in this minute, literally, but I think, at the very end of this minute, Henry starts to get up. And then you see at the beginning of the next minute, the Holy Grail is just sitting there on the floor and no one's looking at it. Like Henry's putting like somebody could just kick it over.
No, it's true. It's true.
Because
no one cares.
Because Elsa has to pick it up. Yeah.
Let me be clear. I'm not saying bad. I'm not saying is this a bad minute or a bad ending. I'm just saying is it anticlimactic?
I mean, I think when you're dealing
in a way not what we would have expected.
For the characters or for us?
Either.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you pay? I think that's the problem with this movie is like, how do you pay off the Holy Grail?
Yeah.
Like that is like, how do you do that besides just switch it to the relationship between the father and the son? Because it's just too much,
Right.
Like that's such a gigantic. The Ark is a thing that I think when people saw Raiders of the Lost Ark, a lot of people didn't know what it was.
Yeah.
And it's deeper in, but the Holy Grail is like, it's the thing. It's the greatest artifact. It's just sort of, it's so much bigger and so much more well known that like, how do you pay that off? I don't think you really can.
Well, speaking of the Grail, I've got one more question. What do you think it feels like to drink out of the Grail? Like, what do you think Henry's experiencing? Can you feel, because Donovan could feel as soon as he drank from the wrong Grail, something happening to him.
Yeah.
And can Henry feel like what's happening? And like, does it fix everything? Like, did it fix his ingrown toenail?
Right.
And his rash?
Is his erectile dysfunction suddenly gone? Yeah.
I think he takes his glasses off because it fixes his astigmatism.
Yeah. But like, is everything that's wrong with him fixed? Like, if he had cancer, is he now cured of cancer?
Yeah. No more UTI infection.
Or do you have to pour it on him? Do you have to pour it in the spot to fix that spot? Like, is that why Indy's scar doesn't go away?
Jerry, you're talking about anticlimactic. I think that the Grail is a really weird, device, MacGuffin. I think it's so fuzzy and like ill-defined, and it's really frustrating. Because they're all going after it for everlasting life, and then at the last minute, but you can't leave the place with it. You can't leave the cave. But like, okay, but what if I leave it here? But I drink out of it. But I leave the cave. Well, no. Like it's so, like the Ark. Yeah, like you said, nobody knew about it. Nobody really knew what it was. But it was this very powerful, God-imbued thing, and it goes berserk at the end, and you're knocked out of your socks.
Even and then even in Temple, which is not great, but it's the stones. We learn what they do at the end of it. We don't know. It's
and you can see what they do. It's like, hey, the village is good, hooray!
Yeah, and even the Ark is a mystery. That's a mystery. Even I do not envy you guys and your next mission, which is Crystal Skull. I was very happy when I found I got out of like 1/16 of this, but even that is a mystery. We find out what it does for better or worse in the end, but this we know from the beginning. So yeah,
well, Pete, I have a note about this.
Okay.
I think that a Raider's ghost actually goes either down your throat or in your wound and it floats around your entire body, and instead of ripping everything and melting your face, it repairs everything really quickly.
It's beautiful.
It's like boop, 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 ding, 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 ding.
Does it start off looking like an evil angel and turns into a beautiful one? Does it do the opposite?
Ooh, no, I think it just stays beautiful.
Yeah.
I think it starts off like, and I think we just can't see it.
Yeah.
But that's what happens. It goes down your throat, and it just starts immediately doing repairs.
Yeah.
It's like a
Maybe
nano.
it's like when you're
nanobot.
meditating and you're breathing in like positive energy and breathing out like all the negatives. You're breathing in the pretty ghosts and you're breathing out the scary ghosts.
Yeah.
It's a nice cycle. Yeah, and they just cleanse you out that way.
Yeah, well, something definitely happens. Henry's face goes all over the place after he drinks, and he kind of comes to, so to speak.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he also.
I actually wondered if he was blinded when he was shot. Yeah,
not weird.
because he does open his eyes and he looks at Indy like, "Oh, you're kidding."
I will say before he crosses the seal, he has the strength to hold Indy as he's falling through that crater, which he probably wouldn't. The character would have not had beforehand.
Right.
So maybe there is that. Maybe he is super strong now.
Should have ripped his shirt off. Be like,
Yeah. We get a little bit of if that is him, who knows if that's actually Sean Connery's body. I doubt it, but we get some Sean Connery chest hair in there. That's good.
Yeah.
that's true.
Actually, can we talk this? Do we think this is Sean Connery's body when they pour the water over it? It seems not hairy enough to me.
I bet they wouldn't make Sean Connery sit there for that, like apply the stuff to him and everything.
Yeah.
He's
It
in
does
his
not
trailer.
it seems young and not hairy enough. When I'm looking at it right now, it's like second one.
We need to compare it to a frame of Zardoz and match the hair pattern.
Yeah.
Please.
Good luck.
Can we do Zardoz minute after this?
Well, speaking of hairy
speaking of-
chests,
Uh-oh.
Oh, God.
this just in from Professor Christy Porter. I hope she doesn't listen to this. Let's see. Is the healing based on faith? Is the Grail objective or is it objectively or subjectively powerful?
That's awesome.
Great.
Yeah, that's a great.
Yeah.
Huh.
That's Christie's
Yeah,
best
because-
time ever.
I don't know why it would be based on faith necessarily.
Well, we see that so far it appears to be objectively powerful.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, but is this moment here one that's based on faith, or did Donovan all age, all wacko-like because a
He drank
lack
out of the wrong
faith?
Grail.
It all comes back to Peter Pan.
Well-
like Indy believed, and the miracle happened.
I doubt the Grail has a fragile ego. It seems too powerful. Like it's like, well, you're going to drink from this, and I'll show you that. Like what's what.
Yeah.
Is
feel
it
like,
possible? Is it possible that any one of those cups would have been the correct one if you lived, a penitent life?
That's a great question.
Wow.
That's a great
that's really
question.
good.
Yeah, is it really, because we're talking about faith or the way that you've lived? I mean, that's what a lot of this whole Christianity is basically you're going to be judged
Right.
on how you've lived.
So do you think Indiana
So-
Jones, being an inherently good person, could have picked any of those?
Well, I have a problem with the first half of that sentence.
Well, he's a cold-blooded murderer who left a 14-year-old girl at the altar. And, 100%. He has not lived a good life. So I think that answers the question, maybe, because Indiana Jones is inherently a bad person.
But I don't know sort of how that's constructed. Possibly, depending on how you lived your life, maybe any Grail would have been the
Yeah, I
correct.
like that. I think that's a good
Yeah.
possibility.
Oh,
wow. I like
That's
that
why
a lot.
the knight was so he didn't care. Like the knight didn't give any clue because anyone
Right.
would have been fine if Indy.
maybe if you're a
been
good
pure of
enough
heart.
guy, you don't need a Grail at all. guys.
But then not
you
to,
know?
not to be
Father Mowry.
Yeah.
Father Mowry. Shout out.
because eternal life ago. But not to be controversial, but like the Crusaders were terrible people as well. So.
That's true.
Right.
Bloodthirsty murderers. You
Yeah.
know, very, so I don't know.
Although this knight has had 1,000 years to get penitent,
Yeah. So I mean, to them, Indy's just like, he hasn't done anything that bad. He's just, machine gunned a whole bunch of Nazis.
yeah, killed 40 or 50 people.
Sure.
Well, and on that note, not sure how many of our audience we've killed, but Steve, thanks
Yes.
for joining us today.
It was so much fun. This went by so quickly. I can't believe we spent this long talking about 1 minute. This is amazing.
Yeah. That's what we
And,
do.
Yep.
Are you
And
guys going to
got
be
another
okay when you
podcast.
hit Crystal Skull? Have you worked out any plans for that?
We believe, and we have faith, so I think we'll be just fine.
There's good minutes within it, so I think you'll hit some of those. I think that's the best thing you can say about that movie is there are definitely minutes within it, especially the first half, that are not totally terrible.
Can't wait.
Yeah.
Sounds real good.
I'm just saying, I'm with you guys. I'll probably listen to it. My heart goes out to you.
Well-
I hope you find your own grails to get you through it, that you can keep drinking and bring you eternal life.
And Steve, you've got a cool podcast. Maybe you can tell people a little bit about.
I have a podcast called I Need My Space, which is it's so much fun. I get to talk to distinguished space experts and enthusiasts and astronauts and just cool people whose lives revolve around space, and I interview them, and we try to just break down the cosmos one big question at a time. You can find it on any major podcast platform or at inverse.com. Inverse is a great website, which is just trying to spark curiosity about the future. We dissect the science of anything, and you can find it there. And you should also check out that website because it is really it's really great, and it is a fun, different view at modern science. So check out our articles there, and just follow I Need My Space on any major podcast platform. It's a lot of fun.
Cool. And everybody, check us out tomorrow where we dissect the space of minute 117 of Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade here on the Indiana Jones Minute.
Please.
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 Please.